bonjour, or hello guys. Sorry to be so random. Alright, so in this video we're going to be learning how to basically calculate the area of a triangle using Java, and I'm using Eclipse Neon, so it's a little new to me, and I really haven't used the IDE Eclipse at all. I usually use TextPad for Java, so forgive me if I am, I don't know all these little neat tricks that you guys can use. But anyways, I think it's kind of best anyways, since this is like a beginner Java programming tutorial video. Alright, so the first thing I did out in here is I created a class called triangle. We're going to be calculating the area of the triangle, right? So public class triangle. I have here my main method, public class static void main string args, okay? I have System.out.println hey, so that's just me starting right now. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to try to calculate the area of the triangle, and we're going to expect the user to type in numbers. So for example, the base and the height of the triangle, and we're going to use those two values to calculate the area of the triangle, right? So if we're going to have the user type in something to the computer, we're going to have to import scanner, right? So first thing you want to do when you're starting this is you're going to import java.util.Scanner. Okay, .util.Scanner. Okay, we're going to import java. Oh, and by the way, I do have this other class over here, which is kind of the same thing. Like it was an assignment that my girlfriend had to do, so I was helping her out with the program. So that's her code, but so it gave me the idea to do this one for triangle. So I'm basically redoing it again, except I'm explaining it in my way rather than her doing her work. Anyways, so it's import java.util.Scanner, right? Because we're going to be using the scanner, and like we can just take. We don't have to take it out for right now. I was talking about the System.out.println. So the next thing we want to do, if we're going to calculate the area of a triangle, is we want to set some variables. So to get the area of a triangle, what do we need? We need a base and we need a height. So let's create a double called base and height. So now we have two variables, and we're on to the next step. All right, so for some of you guys who are still new to programming, there's different ways that you can instantiate a variable. You can create a variable by saying double base equals 0, assigning it 0, or you can just write double equals, double base. You can just like write it out and not assign any value to that specific variable, but you do have to, what type of data type it is. You have to state what type of data type it is that you do have to do. So, but my point is that most people, they usually, when you're starting, you usually what's it called? Create the variable one at a time. You go like double, face, whatever. I don't know. I'm just creating stuff out of everything, random. But when you're writing code, you could just put it all together in one line, but just putting a comma and then putting the next variable that you're trying to create. So here I have double base and double height. So it's a good way to save some time when you're writing. All right, so now that we have that done, we have to create a scanner. So the way you create a scanner in Java is you start off with scanner, and here you're going to give it your scanner name. So I'm going to call it scan, SCN. Is going to be equal to new, all right, scanner. Okay, spelling is off like always. All right, system.in. Okay, so we have that. And now the next thing is, now we created a scanner. So this is kind of like instantiating a variable, except this is of the type scanner. So we have scan here. Now we're going to be telling the user, hey, user, can you type in a value so that I can use it? So we're going to tell them, user, enter base, okay, base of the triangle. And you guys can put whatever you guys want in here. I'm pretty sure you guys know how to use the System.out.println thing. And so the person's going to be now typing in a number, and that's going to be assigned to the base. So what we're going to have to do now is we're going to say that base, right, is equal to, and now we're going to use our scanner right here, one that we created. So scanner dot next, and then we're gonna have double, right? Because these are doubles, so because we created a double, so we have to use that one. So base is equal to next double. All right, so that is automatically gonna assign the next double that is entered into the computer will be assigned to base, and that's what we'll have as, you know, our base value. So now the same thing, and we're gonna do this for the height. Enter height. All right, so now we have the height of a triangle, and we're gonna come over here, and now we have basically it's the same thing, user enter height, and now we have to again use the scanner. So scanner next double, so the next double that's entered will be assigned to height. So now we completely have a base and height that has a value, and it's going to be, that value is going to be whatever the user types in. So you can rerun this program over and over again, and as long as the person keeps putting in different numbers, it'll calculate the area every time. Now what happens if the user enters something that's not a number? For example, let's say what if they write cake or peanuts, you know, then you're gonna get an error basically, because the computer is expecting a double. That's why you put next double. If you're expecting a string, you could just put next, you know, the two parentheses, or next line or anything like that, but you can't, you know, tell the computer, oh, you're expecting a double, but here I'm gonna throw a string at you. That's a sad story, you know, you don't want to go into that. All right, so enough of that, and now we have a base and a height. So now we're going to calculate the area. So let's just create another variable called area, just for fun, I guess. All right, so we have a double called area, and we're going to say that area is going to be equal to, area is going to be equal to base. Then here you can just type in base times height. And also, for some of you guys that don't know, it's just like in mathematics, you know, as when you guys were just little learning PEMDAS and stuff. PEMDAS, you know, P is for parentheses, so anything inside the parentheses is going to be done first, all right? And when you're coding Java, because the parentheses is an operator, so is multiplication an operator, but the operator that gets done first is the parentheses. So whatever's in there is going to be done first, and then after they get that value, I'm going to divide the whole thing by 2 and assign that value onto the area. Now that we have an area, we can just throw in an extra layer of complexity, I guess, by what's it called, calculating the perimeter of this triangle. Now, how can we calculate the perimeter of this triangle if we don't have an angle? Now, that gets pretty tough, because if your triangle isn't a right angle, then you know you need to use the cosine of theta is equal to, and then you just have to use trigonometric values in there. But thankfully, we're going to be assuming that our triangle is a right triangle, so that means that we have the base and we have the height. So the only thing that we're missing is the hypotenuse, and if you guys know Pythagorean's theorem, it's that a squared plus b squared, let me see, plus b squared, y squared is equal to c squared. Yeah. All right, so we have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We have a, which is going to be our base, let's say, and b, which is be our height, and c can be our whatchamacallit, our hypotenuse, right? So that's what we're trying to find, because if we're trying to find the perimeter of the triangle, we got to add the base plus the height plus the hypotenuse. So let's create something called a double, not a double. We're going to create something called a fakehyp, okay? Now, oops, no space. Fakehyp, okay, good. Now we have a fake hypotenuse. Now let me tell you why I'm going to do this. Now watch this. And there's different ways that you guys can go about getting the perimeter and stuff. But this is how I would do it. So fakehyp is going to be equal to area squared plus b squared, right? So we can just say, here we can put in, because you know, another way, you could use the math function and just say math.pow blank and then 2. If some of you guys don't know what that is, it's in a different video. You guys can look it up. I'm not going to go into that right now. I will be using the math library though. I will be using the math library. But anyways, right now, another way to write base squared or b squared is just b times b, or base times base, you know? So we have that, and we're going to write the height squared, which is the same thing as writing height times height, you get me? So base times base plus height times height is going to be equal to your fake hypotenuse. But wait a minute, Jeff, what happened? If you said that a squared plus b squared is equal to, if a squared plus b squared is c squared, then why is fake hyp not squared? That's a good question. We will square it. That's the whole point. So we can just create another thing over here called double actual hypotenuse. You see, actual hypotenuse. I'm gonna put a hype. This one was fake hyp. So I'm going to, after I get this, like you said, why isn't fake hyp squared? Okay, well, how can we fix that? We can just take the square root of fake hyp, and that will give you the hypotenuse. All right. I can't explain it, but I'm pretty sure you guys get it. You know, if this is a squared, this is b squared, this should be c squared, but it's not c squared. So how do we get the squared out of here? We can take the square root. So fake hyp, if we take the square root of fake hyp, we'll actually be getting, what's it called? We'll get the actual hypotenuse. So we can say hyp is equal to, and just because I have it over here in the what's it called, in this other class, I'm just going to copy over here. We're going to be using the math library, so I'm just going to copy it in this one right now. But like, if you guys can see, we did a lot of coding for this one, but don't worry about it too much. But anyways, we're going to say hyp is going to be equal, oops, what did I do? It's supposed to be imported here in the top. Anytime you're importing something, you always put it in the top. I'm sure you guys know that. It's just a mistake I made. Anyways, okay, so now we're going to type in, since we imported math, we can use now math.square root, and it should have it here. See, now they're saying for a double. All right, the double is going to be this fake hyp, so we're going to control C, put this here. So basically now this is the square root. So if I square this, I don't want to go deeper into explaining it, guys, I'm sorry. Hopefully you guys get it. If you get a piece of paper, you'll be able to understand it. Just write everything that I'm saying, it'll make sense. All right, so hyp is equal to math square root of fake hyp. All right, so now we have the hypotenuse, and let's say the user wants the perimeter, like we were trying to figure out right here. We can tell them what the perimeter is now. So let's just tell him the area of the triangle is, or triangle is, and here we have that's a space and plus, and here we're going to put in the area. So we can type in the variable area, and it'll print out the area. We don't have any units here, so it's a unitless world, I guess. And then now we're going to print out the perimeter, so we can tell the user what the perimeter is. Damn it, what did I do? Control C, Control V. All right, the area, no, we're going to get the perimeter. No, the perimeter of the triangle is, now here we're going to put parentheses so it doesn't get confused. I'm talking about the program, not you guys. So we're going to put in base plus height plus chicken. No. Plus hyp. And so once you add all those three, you just get the hypotenuse, correct? Right. So we have all this program. We can run it now over here. Run it. Triangle.java. Good, good, good. Proceed. Of course, I made an error. Where did I make an error? Oh, okay. So yeah, variable, when you type in something wrong, it just makes a big deal. So, make sure I typed in fake hyp. It's supposed to be fake hyp. That's why it's always good to copy and paste, so you don't make this type of error. But that's why we have our debugger always there when we need it. Of course, there's another error. Oh, of course, I made the same thing. I'm sure you guys are watching like, oh my God, is he serious? Yes, guys, I'm serious. Anyways, all right, so now it's finally working. User enter the base of the triangle. So let's say the base is a 5. Okay, user the height of the triangle. Let's say the height is 2. All right, so the area of the triangle is 5. Does that make sense? Yes. Why? Because 5 times 2 is 10, divided by 2 is again 5. All right, the perimeter of the triangle is 12.38, blah, 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 blah. Seems legit, right? Because the hypotenuse has to be greater than the base and the height. So we're looking for a number greater than a 7, right? Because the hypotenuse has to be, we're looking for a number that's bigger than 5. Apologies. We're looking for a number that's bigger than 5, definitely, because if the base is 5 and the height is 2 or whatever, then the hypotenuse has to be longer than 5. So we're looking at, but the hypotenuse has to be less than 7. And that's just deeper mathematics, but anyways. Well, not even that deep. I mean, you guys could just Google it. It's not even that difficult to prove. But anyways, that's not what this video is about. Sorry. So 5 plus 7 is 5 plus 2 is 7. So the only how do I explain this to you guys? Okay, 5 squared is 25. 2 squared is 4. 25 plus 4 is 29. What's the square root of 29? That's going to be your c squared. All right, I'm going to get the calculator out just so I can prove to you guys that it's right. Remember, because it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared, right? So 5 squared is 25 plus 2 squared is 4. 25 plus 4 is 29. Square root of 29, we're going to get that right now, 29. Oh, of course. I'm like, yeah. So we got this, 5.38, blah, 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 blah. And if you already noticed, that's already the beginning of that we have right here, right? But why isn't it 12? Okay, because that's only the hypotenuse, so let's add plus 5 plus 2, and then we got the same thing, 12.38, blah, 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 blah. All right, so that's it for this video, guys. Sorry it's a bit lengthy, but hopefully you guys could take into, some useful things that you guys can apply into your academics. So that's it for this video, guys. Peace. Don't forget to let me know how I did. What can I improve? What should I do next? I mean, I know a good thing about Java. You guys can ask me about arrays, anything that you guys really need, for loops, if statements, whatever. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out. If I learn how to pause this, then we'll peace out. No, I'm joking, guys. For real. Peace out.